Hello everybody, I'm Dark Knight 316 and this is Robert Wheeler Gaming and you are watching the Roundtable Podcast. In this Roundtable Podcast today, what are we drinking? Well, in my Golden Knights mug, I'm drinking the NOS Zero Sugar.
And I got myself a peach nectarine rainstorm.
Try that.
It's supposed to be clean energy.
Let's see it.
See how it works.
If you can kind of see, it's a little yellow on my part.
Cheers.
But cheers. Alright. So on this channel, we talk about gaming news and gaming stuff, unlike other podcasts that talk about stuff that isn't about gaming. So our first story today is, do you think Final Fantasy IX Remake is coming? If so, when? And do you think that something will be revealed this year, possibly at Tokyo Game Show? So I'll go first. I do think it is coming. I don't think it's been canceled like some rumors are saying. The reason why I think it is coming is because of that NVIDIA leak. Every single game that was on there has come out but Final Fantasy IX. It'd be ironic that they just canceled that one, but everything else coming. When do I think? I think it comes out next year. I think because since Squareenix recently said that they're annualizing their games and basically have like one a year so that they don't oversaturate their market, I think that this year they're doing the Final Fantasy Tactics remake or remastered or whatever. Next year will be Final Fantasy IX. And I do think that possibly it'll be revealed this year, possibly at Tokyo Game Show in September. They'll show a trailer and tell, coming next year. But that's probably all what they'll show because they don't want to oversaturate that Final Fantasy Tactics comes out, later in the month. So I think that that's what they'll just show a trailer. Because they did that possibly with Rebirth and Remake and Crisis Core, where they would show off a trailer and then say, oh, it'll be available like 6 months from now or next year or whatever like that, and they just show like a small portion of it to get the hype up. But this time I think that they'll do a little bit different because of Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't think that they want to overshadow that, because if they don't make any money off of these ones, then they're not going to start try to annualize these ones. What do you think?
I agree. I think I'm still going with my timeline. I believe that Final Fantasy IX is going to come out somewhere between February and March of. I may have to push it back maybe May or June now, but I think what's going to happen is Tactics is going to come out. You got a good maybe like 6 to 8 months of, okay, play Tactics. You got sales, discounts, things like that. And then you release 9, you play 9 for like 7-8 months, and then Remake Part 3 comes out. So that's how I think they're going to do it, because you got to think, like, if they're going to annualize it, what's coming out next year? Is it just going to be like a mobile game or something? So I was looking at actually what's come out like over the last 5 years, and they've had a Final Fantasy, like, you start with the Remake in 2020, and then they had the Pixel remasters, Strangers of Paradise, like things like that. So 16 came out. So I think that they can annualize it, because you got to think, like, they're going to have to fill in the gaps, especially if it's just going to be, is it just going to be Final Fantasy stuff? Because then after 9, the Remake, then what are you going to have like after the next Final Fantasy, things like that. So I do think it's coming out. I do think they're more concerned right now with pushing merch than they are with the game, because the merch is going to push more than I think the game. But yeah, I still think it comes out. I think if we don't get something at Tokyo Game Show, it's going to come with at a State of Play or something like that, like the Final Fantasy Tactics did. But I also do think that they're going to push kind of like the Rebirth trilogy on Switch 2, so you'll see something like that as well. So I think that they're going to push a bunch of different things at one time, but I think 9 comes out I'm saying probably like May or June now. My timeline was like February, March, because I figured you give like an 8 month, release. Because I actually thought Rebirth or Remake would come out September next year, but I'm thinking that's probably pushing to 2027.
To 2027,
yeah.
It makes sense for it to wait on 2027 up on there. So I think that maybe, like, if we don't get anything at the Tokyo Game Show, maybe at that Game Awards, maybe they'll have something there, because then Final Fantasy Tactics has already been released. People have already played it. So then the hype and all that stuff will be there. And then when the Game Awards, since it's in December, will push like, oh, this is a trailer here, comes out May or June or whatever like that to be their annualized. And then I think that
I got the chips.
then I think that maybe like next year when 9 comes out, then like later in the year, like September-ish or whatever like that, or maybe even towards the end, they'll show a trailer for Remake Part 3.
I think you
and
see
then
something like that in the summertime, and you get like, because if the time frame, if it does come out next year, and it comes out like early in 2027, then I think in about like the summertime, you see, I think you'll have 9 already come out. You'll see the time frame of Remake Part 3. They talk about it, they give you the name, stuff like that. Then they'll give you the demo like they did. And then basically the demo, you quiet about it, bring out another demo again, like how they did that. I believe they brought out 2 demos for Rebirth, because they did the one where it was like I believe they brought out the one, but it was like the demo for the people that they brought to be able to try it, and then they brought out for everybody else. So I think they'll do something like that again, and then they'll wait, and then the game comes out. But I do see 9. To me though, I don't see 9 as like, why would they remake 9 when they have 13 that they still need to remake?
Well, I think that's next on their horizon. I think that they're just going to, instead of like remaking it, it's just going to probably be like a remastered. It'll probably be like a trilogy remastered. And they'll probably just show it off and drop it and do the continuous. I don't think that they're going to change anything to it.
That's the only one I can't.
Yeah, because that's the only one that hasn't been on modern console that you can't really play.
If you want to argue, you could say PC, because it's come out for PC, and I believe like Xbox.
Well, the whole trilogy?
The whole trilogy, but it hasn't been like remastered or anything like that. So you can still play it on Xbox and even backwards compatibility and things like that, but it hasn't been. Because like I like Lightning Returns, where you take off that whole time frame, like things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll go in there and change a bunch of the stuff, because of that was their least popular franchise.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they're gonna try to work too hard about it. I think that maybe they'll, polish it up, make it look nicer up on there, make it like fix any of the bugs that they had in there. I mean, who knows? Maybe they might. Maybe one of the producers on there really love that game and want to go and make it. But
it's a good game.
I mean, what would be cool is if they add that pixel version of it. Cool. When they were showing to tie in all the storyline to it, they showed a pixel of Final Fantasy.
That would be cool.
13. So if they brought out that pixel version where you could switch between the two, like they did with Dragon Quest. What was it, 11?
Yeah.
I think it is. They brought out the 11S version, and you can switch between the pixel and then the 3D. They did something like that. That would probably be cool, but I think that would require them to remake like all the assets all completely there, because the problem with Squareenix is they don't keep their old assets. They usually delete it, or it's on some disc that they don't know about. So that's why they claim that with Final Fantasy Tactics, they don't have the War of the Lion story, or they do, or they didn't have code for part of it, or whatever excuse is that the reason why they couldn't like bring out the PSP version, which is the superior one, because they have all the DLC characters and all that characters.
If they can polish it like couldn't they have just put things in there that they wanted to add? Like if they wanted to add Luso, couldn't they have just polished it adding Luso? Like, because how could they add voiceovers for Cloud and Aerith if I think what they did was they probably were past their time frame, and they
Yeah,
didn't
they're
have
probably
enough.
just being lazy.
Budget wise, they probably were like, we're at our limit. We
Mm-hmm.
have to release this game, or
Yeah, that's probably true because, like you said, I mean, I'm not a full-on game designer, so I don't know like how long, like these assets can take and stuff. But I do know that if you're doing like voiceovers on a game that doesn't have voiceovers, like, then why can't you add? You have the sprites. I mean, even if let's say you lost the sprites of Luso or the dude from 12, can't think of his name. Right? Balthier, yeah. Like even like recreate it. You already made the 3D assets of it. You can recreate what he looks like in the pixel up on there.
Me as a fan of the game, I think the only thing I was disappointed on was I wish they would have done like online multiplayer, because I think that would have expanded the game much longer.
Yeah, they had
that
it on the
fun for the
PSP,
version.
so like,
that would have been fun to be able to play and build your characters up and get, and especially if they made it where you could get other weapons and things like that. That would have been
yeah. If it was like a whole online component of it, where it's kind of like you team up and you do excuse me, you do like raids and stuff like that, or you do it kind of like you do the dungeons, kind of like how they do on the PSP, where it's like you pick like 4 characters, your teammate picks 4 characters, and you go out and you battle once there, and then you can get loot and stuff like that. I think that was fun because we had fun playing it online on the PSPs like that, and going and testing out our characters.
It was tough. It was tough for the online stuff, especially if you didn't know, like if you didn't have certain abilities that you equipped. It was tough. Like you couldn't just use Sid and take out everybody. It was actually like Sid couldn't take out everybody. So
yeah, so I think that they should have done that, and I also think that like they should have, like if they had the assets of creating those DLC characters, you could have had potentially adding in a bunch more storylines and having DLCs to it, or even just adding it into it. Like imagine having Clive from Final Fantasy 16 in there. I mean, how OP he would have with all his abilities. I think that would have been cool. That would have sold more. Or have like Lightning in it, or Noctis, and have like their little story ones as DLCs that you can add into the base game, and then do it up on there, or expand it, like make the game longer because you have those. Because they have that tower that goes, I don't remember how many floors it is on Tactics, but it's like dark or whatever like that. They could have did it where one of the floors is oh, you got lightning now, you got this one, kind of like in Tactics Ogre they have it where you can get these extra characters and stuff like that and do their side story. They should have done that with this remake up on it. They probably would sell like 1 billion more copies up on it, because people would be like, oh, what character are they going to add now? And 2, adding like the online component of it would sell a lot more, because people would want to have that challenge of either having their team facing somebody else's team online and building up like that way, or having it where you team up and you fight all these dungeons over there, and getting
somebody.
and getting like weapons that are only online that you can use in like the base game and stuff like that. I think that would have been a cool asset, but they squandered it because, like you said, I think that it was probably rushed. That's why they didn't have time to do all that. They wanted to release it all up on there because of that NVIDIA leak. That's why they probably spent most of their time on Final Fantasy IX Remake and less time on the Tactics, because they're like, oh,
not even that.
Tactics isn't that popular.
All their stuff on trying to do the Remake Part 3 as well. They probably have so many teams that they're pulling through to, and then they had a deadline. They were like, oh, well, we're not going to meet the deadline. Oh, we're pretty much done with it. We'll just complete it how it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. So
yeah, because I mean, hopefully this game sells a lot, because rumors are saying that they might make a sequel to this game, or make maybe add the DLC, because you're supposed to be able to learn about Delita's side of the story in chapter 4, And so if they add that more of that story, then that will explain the ending of Tactics if they keep it the same. And so that could possibly open up a sequel to it. But I just hope that if they do make a sequel, they just get rid of all the Game Boy Advance versions of it, because those ones really had nothing to do with the Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions, because that game was epic, but the other one had too much of the judge and the law and all that kind of stuff like that, which really, like, in my opinion, ruined the game up on it, because in one of the stages they had like restrictions where it's like, oh, well, you can't use lightning. It's like, but I shouldn't have restrictions on playing it if the enemies like doesn't follow the same law, or if you break the thing, then it's like that character can't be used in like 2 battles and stuff like that. Like, I didn't like that on there.
Do we have that one? I can't
We
remember.
we have both versions, because I think
Do we? I thought we only had one.
no, because I think the Advance 2 was for DS,
I don't remember.
but the first one was for Game Boy Advance. I think it was.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So I do think 9 is coming out next year. I think that they'll have something revealed this year up on it, because if they don't and they reveal everything next year and stuff, I think people will not really get hyped for it. I think if they show something this year, like a Tokyo Game Show or later, then next year, if they want to make it come out like in the summertime, then like January, February, maybe show more of the trailer up on it, or show like gameplay or something like that. Bring out a demo like you were saying with the remake, and build that hype for it. And then when it releases and you have that game, kind of like 16, where it came out in like the summertime ish, and then they had all that time before Crisis Core came out for in December, so they had all that loop on it. I think that's their plan up on it. But also they were saying that the Dragon Quest remakes are going to be coming out too, so hopefully that doesn't interfere with the, like, it's not part of the Final Fantasy annualization. Like, they could still come out with other Squareenix games, and it won't interfere with, like, oh, well, because we worked on Dragon Quest, we can't work on Final Fantasy IX or 13 or whatever. So the next topic that we're talking about is, out of all the games that are out this year so far, what is your game of the year? But the criteria will be that you've had to have played the game.
Oh, then there would be nothing
up on there,
pretty much.
Well, then we'll just do it based off of like each month we'll pick one game that we think would be good, and then we'll pick our,
because I haven't played through a lot of these games just because work, of course. But so I started looking through.
So what's January?
You sent me the list.
Yeah.
So I'm looking through January, and so kind of the games that there's one game that actually stood out to me. I thought would be good was Dynasty Warriors Origins. I thought that could be a possible game of the year, because not only is it it's different from what it come out, but it's also for Dynasty Warriors. It's, from what I hear, it's a really good game. So to look at that, I was trying to see
do you have that game? Or?
I don't.
No,
I don't.
And didn't in January came out Tales of Grace's F, right?
Yeah. Tales of Grace's F came out, East came out, so...
East came out. I don't remember the East
the
coming
Oath
out.
of Felgana, that came out there, so I would, in January, I was going to choose Dynasty War, because even if you look at half these games, I already played them.
Yeah, I'll pick Tales of Grace's F.
Tales of Grace's F. So if you look at
January.
February, I was trying to look at February, so you got games like Legends of Heroes, Daybreak 2, the Tomb Raider Collection.
See, that's a pretty good month so far.
Like a Dragon.
That's a pretty good month.
And then Monster Hunter Wilds. So
I'd probably just go with my boy, the Legends of Heroes.
Kingdom Deliverance 2 as well.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I heard, is a really good game, and that's probably going to be some other people's game of the year. I didn't really like Monster Hunter Wilds as much.
I think I would choose that just because I think I think from what I would say Game of the Year versus what I think other people would, I think they would choose Monster Hunter Wilds for February.
I played that one. I didn't really like it too much on it. My favorite one is still Monster Hunter World. I still like that one. I think that they fixed the mechanics and stuff like that better. This one here, I think that they adding the monsters isn't too bad up on it, but I think that the Monster Hunter Wilds, like, it could have been so much better, but it wasn't up on there. What's for March?
So March, a couple games that stood out was one, Split Fiction. Everybody I know was talking about that one. Suikoden Collection.
That'll be mine already, because Suikoden was my favorite PlayStation game.
That was a really good game. Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Is that what you're gonna pick?
No, I'm picking Suikoden, but Xenoblade Chronicles X, I think, is
and then
one.
I see that they had Shadows come out.
Ace of Shadows. Atelier Yumiya, even though I don't think it's one of the best in the series. It's a game hard to get into, but that's another.
I would pick Suikoden, but I think that the community would probably pick Assassin's Creed.
And I actually think they'd probably pick Split Fiction.
You think they'd pick Split Fiction?
If you were to choose it from March, like to Game of the Year, I think Split, because that game just popped out of nowhere and it became real popular. So I think Split Fiction would be the game, even though you have some like Xenoblade Chronicles X good there. Some people might choose Assassin's. I wouldn't, but Assassin's Creed.
Bleach would be one.
I think March, the first Berserker.
Yeah, that game was pretty popular.
So
it's like Frontier 2.
March
that was
had a lot of good.
That was that Shadow dropped on that one.
So March, you had a lot of good games. I think comes out. My choice is Suikoden.
Yeah,
but I know a lot of people
for me.
Game of the Year wise, they won't. A lot of people are
a lot of the newer younger people and stuff like that will not vote for Suikoden because they never grew up playing that.
April, looking at, I guess you can say, I'm looking up for not really anything that's come out is nothing to, Lunar.
Okay, Lunar Remaster.
Oblivion.
Or, the community would pick Elder Scrolls 4 because that game is pretty good.
Clair Expedition 33.
No. Clair Expedition 33 is my game of the year so far. Like, that beat out any game on this list. Anybody else's game even beats out Death Stranding, in my opinion. So, Clair Obscure is my game of the year.
So April, April there, and then so if we
I like the Fatal Fury. I like the fighting games, but Clair Obscure is going to be my game of the year. That's my game of the year.
We would have to even more than Suikoden.
Even more than Suikoden, yes.
So let's see, May. If there's anything that we could pull from May that would really. Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars is old.
Dune: The Dark Ages. That was a pretty popular game.
I hear this one's pretty good. Fantasy Life 1 or I. The Girl Steals Time. This one already sold over 1 million copies.
Oh, did it?
I
never heard of it.
I've never played it, but I hear it's pretty good if it's selling that much. Onimusha 2, Elden Ring, Night Rain.
That game would probably be a lot of people's game of the year. I would think that IGN would probably vote that for game of the year because I know a lot of the people on there really liked the Night Rain. I haven't played it, so I couldn't give my opinion on Night Rain. But in my opinion, Clair Obscure is going to be my game of the year.
3.
Yes.
And then it's going to be even more than Mario Kart World that came out.
Mario Kart World, in my opinion, is not as good as Mario Kart.
If you look at anything else, I'm trying to see what else we could do.
Most of the ones that came out in, what is this, June?
This is June.
June is all remakes for Switch 2.
Ooh, we could do Mind's Eye.
No, that game bombed. Maybe Stellar Blade for PC.
Yeah, but it's PC, so I wouldn't consider it because it's an old game, like a game that they just released. I'm looking for at least, I guess you could do FBC Firebreak.
I would say maybe Rematch, because that was popular for being a free game that's like the Rocket League. So
Death Stranding on the beach.
Death Stranding 2 would be most people's.
And the Front Mission 3 remake came out in June. I didn't know that.
For the Switch.
Yeah. And then that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
up to June.
So
out of those games that we mentioned,
Clair Expedition 33 is my game of the year so far.
So.
halfway through the year. I mean, what's coming out in July? Maybe it might change.
I don't think so, because I was looking through some of these. Like, if I were to look at it, I would say Tony
Hawk is already coming out.
Eden Zero is an RPG.
The RoboCop looks pretty cool.
Nothing too much.
Donkey Kong would probably be most people's game of the year.
And not really too much for
Ninja Gaiden Ragebound.
I don't think that has game of the year potential.
No, but that one it looks pretty good. And then let's see, August. Demon Slayer would probably be one. Do you think Madden?
No, Madden couldn't take it. That's pretty much. August doesn't have
Black Myth Wukong for Xbox.
Much. That's I guess you could say Metal Gear Solid
Delta. That would probably be pretty popular.
That's pretty much it.
That'll be really popular for August.
You want to keep going, or
yeah? Okay, we'll go for the rest of the year to try to see.
I'm looking at games that they like pretty much announced but haven't come out yet. Garfield Kart 2 probably. Borderlands.
No, I think that Terminator 2D No Fate would probably be there. But if I had to pick, because Borderlands 4, I don't think is going to be as popular as most people think.
A lot of people like Borderlands.
Yeah, but I think that they mostly got sick of it. I would pick Trials in the Sky
first chapter.
I would pick that, but that's still not going to beat out.
Behind.
That's still not going to beat out Clair Expedition.
The new Atelier game's coming out.
The
Rihanna.
Yeah,
that one's coming out too. That one looks good.
To me, that's still not going to be Clair.
And then Final Fantasy Tactics, the Endless Chronicles.
Now, see, I'm going to have to play that one to see if it beats out my Clair obsession, but I don't think it will. I think Clair is going to be taking it for this year for me.
Honestly, as good as Expedition 33 is, I don't think it will take any like end of the year awards, just because I think you're going to have people against that game.
Yeah,
honestly,
it probably will.
Because you're going to have things like, look in October, Ghost of Yotai. They'll probably give Ghost of Yotai. They'll probably
give it to that.
Little Nightmares 3. So that, it's interesting that they're going to do Little Nightmares 3 and the Little Nightmares Enhanced Edition.
And then they have Pokemon. Pokemon is going to be pretty big.
Ninja Gaiden 4.
That might be good. I don't know.
Outer Worlds 2.
Outer Worlds 2 will probably be popular.
Dragon Quest.
That'll be fun, but that's not gonna make anybody's game
I can see everybody, even though I don't think it's gonna be that good. Ghost of Yotai. I think
everybody's talking about that.
It's gonna say that's gonna be better than Expedition, even though I don't think it will be better than Expedition 33.
I don't think it's going to really be better than Ghost of Tsushima.
And then November, from what they announced, nothing really good there. And then December, from what they announced,
there's not really anything big coming out.
To be announced, because you got things like...
Yeah, because Black Ops 7 and stuff like that usually comes out in
Elden Ring Tarnished Edition for the Switch, Remake Intergrade coming out. It's supposed to be coming out soon, which is... I'm still getting that for the Switch too, even though I already have it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so far... Until I play Final Fantasy Tactics Remake, the Clair Expedition is my game of the year. I think with all the other channels and stuff like that, when they...
East versus Trails in the Sky Alternative Saga.
That's a fighting game. I think that with all the other channels, it'll probably come pretty close to like Death Stranding 2, Metal Gear Solid, Ghost of Yotai will probably be, and maybe the Elden Ring, Night Rain, like those will probably be like what I see as the top 4 that the other channels will be fighting for as game of the year, and Jeff Keighley will probably put one of those games as game of the year. But in my opinion, Clair still beats them all, even though Clair is different from the other.
I don't think they get it because I think influence-wise. More of like the people who review the games and stuff like that are more influenced by like an Elden Ring, AC Shadows and things like that, versus actually looking at what constitute as a really great game. And you look at, like, I can't think of, besides a little bit of buggy points, like of games that needed parts that needed to be fixed, like I couldn't think of a flaw for Expedition 33 that was like, well, the story dragged on too long. Like you play and you're like, oh geez, like what happened here?
Because you didn't have to do any of the side missions. Like, unless you wanted to get the trophies and stuff like that, you didn't have to do any side missions. You could have went straight and beat the game and did it all.
And I like that they didn't, the story. That like they nerfed that Mael's move, but they didn't nerf it to the point where it's like it's no longer completely broken. That it makes it unfair and then not fun to play. Like, you could still do it.
Yeah.
And my only downfall is I wish that there was more to do, like kind of like at the end, if they added, hopefully they add like a DLC this year or something that brings me back to playing.
Yeah,
it.
like maybe have like a super optional dungeon.
Yeah. Or I was even thinking like if they expanded how they had their tower, kind of like if they expanded that, you could play more, they could add. But like other than that, like, I can't think of a downfall. Whereas you got to think like in Elden Ring, pretty much the same concept, but it's like a boss battle type. So you're pretty much the same concept there. AC Shadows, you already know what you're getting from that. Death Stranding 2, you already know what you're getting from Death Stranding 2. So I think when you're looking at like Ghost of Yotai, so Expedition 33 was completely different, and I think that's why it should win Game of the Year, because these other games you already know what you were expecting from it. So but I don't think I think like a Ghost of Yotai or Death Stranding would probably win Game of the Year, but I don't think they should.
Yeah,
just
like with Clair Expedition, like I haven't played a game in a while that had a twist that I wasn't even expecting, because I wasn't expecting a lot of to do like the Final Fantasy twist on it. I understand why, because of how much money it would have cost to keep that voice actor on there, especially since he's a known like voice actor, because he's an actual actor on there. So if you don't know, Charlie Cox played a character on there. He played Gustav. And it would have cost them a bunch more money, like a lot of money, to keep him there to voice that character so long. So it surprised me when they did the twist in the game for it, and then he ended up playing with Verso. So like that, I was not expecting it. So I mean, I liked the Gustav character. I played with him more instead of switching out to Mael or anybody else on there. I liked playing him. I built him up. I did all this stuff like that. And then when the twist happened, I was like, who are you gonna go play then? Because I didn't know of Verso or anything like that. And then when you got Verso, he ended up being my favorite character. Verso, and then Mael is if I ranked it, Verso would be number one. Mael would be number two.
Well, if I got to choose favorite character wise, I think I would choose Lune, because I felt I always like the magic characters.
Did you really play as that character?
I didn't play with her as much because I started, because as strong as Mael was at the point where I was in the game, I pretty much just solo runned it with her. And so I didn't build up Verso as well. I kind of wish I would go back and kind of build them up and play how I would want them to.
Who was your least played character?
CL was my even though she was my strongest to be able to beat the optional boss, even though using her was my strongest, I think she was my least played. But they're all unique in their way to be able
to take on the bosses,
do what needs to be done. But
yeah, my least played characters was CL, and then it was what's her face, the magic user, Lune. Yeah, I played with Monaco a lot. I mean, I really liked his character, especially because he was a blue mage, and so he got to do the
and that's what I liked about the game, because they made him like specifically what you would think of if, you know, of course you would compare it to Final Fantasy, but like that's how Final Fantasy does it with their characters for each game, is they come up, oh, this is like, you got a monk, you got a blue mage, like things like that. But overall, what would you put as your criteria of like, this is what makes how it makes Game of the Year? Like if you had to rank like in 3 areas.
Well, most of like the criteria that the other people would do is based off of like sale wise and stuff, and like that is part of it, because you know it sold over like 3 million units and stuff like that for a game that nobody really thought.
3.3 million in 33 days on the 33rd day. So
for me, I would put, like, if I did criteria, I would put as like the fun factor would have to be number one, whereas like if you put this game down, are you thinking about playing this game nonstop?
That's how I was.
Like, that's
every day
criteria
after work.
for it.
I gotta play it every day before work.
Yeah. So if I played a game and I'm like, I played it, but I'm not really thinking about the story or playing the game, and then, you know, it goes on the shelf for a few days and then I play something else and then come back to it, I don't think that that's considered game of the year. It's the one that you can constantly like, oh yeah, I gotta finish this game. This game's really good. Also, it would have to be like the gameplay mechanics. Like, is it something easy that you can pick up, even if like you put it down for like a month or whatever, and you come back to it? Are you still gonna have that muscle memory where, oh, I don't have to look at the option for how do I open up the map, how do I do this and stuff like that? You automatically know. And then I would say third would probably be, I don't really care too much about graphics up on there, so I'd probably.
So if it was like a PS1 graphic and
As long-
clunky and things like that, but like good story,
as
good.
it's a good story and good controls
Good
where I don't
controls.
have to learn about it, it'd be fine with me. I would say probably it would have to have a good story. I think that would be my criteria. If it has a story that hooks you right at the beginning and makes you want to play it again, it would be good. Because, like, for me, I think the Ghost of Yotai is going to not do that, because I think it's going to be more of, oh, you played Ghost of Tsushima, it's pretty much the same now, just with the new character. You're not really going to get the uniqueness of a game. Where same with like Death Stranding 2. Like, you play Death Stranding 1, like playing part 2, it has a little bit of the uniqueness with these characters to see on how much they evolve, but I don't think it's enough of the hook for you to.
Well, the reason
get
why too, because I think Death Stranding, what they're trying to do is because how you connected with the character from in the first game to the second one. But I think also the problem Death Stranding 2 will have is the sequel, because usually sequels, it's a lot harder. Even though the game's doing well, I think it's a lot harder to be able to say like your direction point and things like that, because it's a sequel in the game. So usually, like, you think about that with movies as well. Like, usually the second one, it's harder to. The first one, everybody wanted. They kind of like, everybody's like, oh, this is good. The second one comes out and you're kind of like, it wasn't as good.
Yeah,
and the third one comes out, it's good.
The only exception to the movie wise that I actually thought the sequel was pretty good was Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, that sequel was really good. If they make a third one, then it ruins it all.
But I think that's where, like, Death Stranding. So Death Stranding's hoping that you connected with the characters in the first game. So when they bring them to the second game, you still kind of have that connection of, oh man, I wish he would have done this. How come he's doing? Like, I've never played it. Now that second one comes out, it looks interesting enough for me to go back and actually try it. So I'm gonna try it at some point. But that's where I think when you're looking at a game that connects with each other, they're banking off you connecting with. I think his name's Sam.
Yeah.
You're looking that you're connected with Sam on how he made it on the beach this time.
What is your criteria for Game of the Year?
So I don't think sales wise should count, because there could be a game that. So I think you have to have your story. I think the story has to be really good. I think graphics wise on the current console you're using, if you don't have it fully powered like a movie, just graphics enough wise that it doesn't look like it looks like a game that you'd actually want to purchase. So if I were to think of, like, let's say you did a pixel remaster, you're not using the full graphics wise of like the PS5, but you have it graphically enough that it actually still looks good and things like that.
So I think you would think Pixel Remastered would be a contender?
Like if Final Fantasy had their Pixel Remaster come out this year, I think it would be a contender, considering that graphics wise it still looks good for being an old game and a Pixel Remaster. So if you can paint the barn of it looking like it actually looks good with modern technology, I think that would be something. So, like, I think of the new Trails game that's coming out. They have it more graphically of taking an upgrade in a PSP version. So that story wise, and then I just think as you were talking about, like, how you connect with the game, because there are some games you play and you're like, okay, I tried it, I'm good, but then with Expedition 33, like, I'm 33 hours into the game. And I'm like, after work, like, okay, I gotta keep playing and try to get through this game and playing it. And I remember just journeying the story. And I'm kind of like, I'm trying to get there, but I'm like, too tired after work to play, but I got to play this game because it's so much fun. So I think those are the three criteria. Because you got to think, like, you can have a game that isn't graphically like the best of which let's say like a Death Stranding or something, but it can tell you a story and connect you with it and make you want to keep playing this game, even though it doesn't look like what they threw millions of dollars into it. So that's where I think it would look. You have to have a great story, because you got to think, if you have a great story from the game, 10 years from now, people are gonna be having a podcast talking about your game from 10 years ago about how good that game was. So I think something like that is where you have to connect. So overall, I think Expedition 33, if like I were to rank it for game of the year, it'd be a 9 out of 10, just because I don't think it's perfect in a way, because like I said, at the end, I wish that there was more to do. I pretty much completed everything before I beat the game. So I wish that there was more to do, of kind of like an endless tower and things like that. So,
or do like a new game plus that adds like new stuff to it.
I mean, they kind of did that, but for like trophy wise, there wasn't really much.
Yeah, but
to do
with
after.
the new game plus, they would just pretty much like up the levels of your pictos.
Yeah,
up on there, which like would make the game easier, but they also up the difficulty of the bosses and stuff like that too. But it's really nothing.
That's the only thing
different on it,
because I think of a game. If you're gonna want to expand the game, like at the end, you want to. If you're not gonna throw DLCs and things like that into it, you want to add things where it's like make it challenging to where I could keep playing, or expand the story a little bit more after the game. So it's like after I was like, man, I couldn't stand that guy. Oh, but what, he came back in the ultimate form.
Yeah, or do like
there.
I would think of something that they could have done in Expedition 33 is like if you played the new game plus, then you would also get access to Gustav, and you can bring him to the end game. I think that would have been a crazy thing, instead of like how it is where he gets replaced by Verso. But I think that if you did New Game Plus, you could also have the option of having Gustav on your team. So you could have like Mael, Gustav, and Verso.
But it's like he's not part of the story, but you can still use him.
But you can still use him in the story and stuff like that.
That would be
and I think that would have been cool to go and do stuff like that, because of like he was my favorite character until I got Verso. And I really liked Gustav. I liked how he had the mechanical arm that was like the lightning and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool on there. And then of course for like that plot twist, like I never even.
But that's where I like it though, because it's like you invested your time because you played as Gustav. You didn't play as Mael a lot at the beginning. It was more like, she was more like your their kid, because
they didn't even expect her to be on that expedition. She just appeared there, and they're like, she wanted to come help.
And then when they do that twist, it's like, I just invested all my time into. But and seeing that's the thing though, is like you didn't hate it. You didn't say, now I got to play as Mael, and you were still like, that's like. Yeah, I invested all the time, but now I get to play as Mael. How does this story kind of pan out to keep me? I think if they would have done it and then it was like Mael wasn't a likable character, I think it would have failed. But people like Mael. I liked Mael. I thought, she was my character I played through. But I thought also what made this game great was each character was unique in a way, because each of them, it was like they developed each. Even though the story focused on like two characters, they developed the characters uniquely and had a backstory of the reason why they're going on that expedition. Why are they on this expedition? Not because it's, hey, I'm going to join the fight, but like they all had skin in the game of the reason why they wanted to do it. And then you got to kind of hear their backstory and things like that. So, great game. I think the only thing about it is sequel, I think, will struggle. They'll probably make
That's
a
what I
prequel.
think. But they put all their eggs in one basket, and now it's going to be harder for the next one. And I also think that, like, for Game of the Year wise, like, this isn't a AAA game. This isn't one that has like a lot of money backed on it from like Sony or Nintendo or whatever like that, and they were able to make a good game. So like Ghost of Yotai will only be popular because they're like, oh look, Sony put all this money to it. But I don't think that it's as good. I mean, Astrobot was really good, and they've come out with more stages and stuff like that. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I think Astrobot is in a way it's just more like it's canned. There's not Astrobot. It's a platformer, and that's like pretty much it. It doesn't really have like a story wise in a sense of it's more like a I don't know how to put it, but like the story, you're saving the other Astrobots, but it's not. It's more of like I want to say it's like a friendly kind of type, like that, like how you
like the Lego games, basically where you're just collecting a bunch of
like,
characters.
I'm collecting these things, and I defeated the evil, whoever, and like that's basically how it is. But there's nothing for a story wise in there. There's nothing that infests like gameplay wise, mechanically, stuff like that. It's great, but there's no story. There's nothing to kind of like draw you in. Why am I, now that I platinumed it, why would I go back to play it? I don't care about the extra levels you added, things like that. So that's where I think that is like a Astrobot could probably potentially win Game of the Year, but I don't see it as something like it should win Game of the Year.
Yeah, because to me it doesn't draw me back to wanting to play, even though that they have that one little mechanic where they're like, so-and-so on your friends list to beat your score up on this, but it still doesn't draw me back to wanting to go beat their score on it. The game was good when I played it, and there was a bunch of challenging parts on it where I almost ruined the controller playing those ones there, and I thought I was never going to pass that one there, and I had to keep playing it and playing and playing.
Yep.
The one gripe I do have about that game, though, is there wasn't really I know why they did it, but I think that it would have been better if they had like mid save points in those games.
Yeah, but you got to think about how much like you and I grew up on playing these games where they didn't have save points like that. But now they make games so easy that everybody complains that they don't have save points.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of those ones that were like the face button ones where they were like the triangle, circle, X square, like some of the ones it was like they hit you from far away and you got hit. Like, come on. Like they made those so long that it would have been nice to have kind of like a checkpoint halfway so that you wouldn't have to restart it all the way over, redo it all,
like super
kind of stuff like that.
Whereas
no, because I mean they could have still had it where the checkpoint, like you're doing somebody up on there, but it was like, oh, I play that one, but then like I'm tired, I want to go to sleep. And then, so if I went and played it back in the morning, I got to start right at the beginning. Like, or if there's a checkpoint, I can continue from that checkpoint.
Today, they would not have a challenge or like even a trophy of something where it's like, play 5 hours straight without saving the game. Because people get so mad that, oh, I got to play 5 hours. Well, what if my console dies? What if this happens? Oh, your game's so buggy. So, like, they wouldn't have something like, or even something of a challenge where it's like, oh, when you think of, oh, complete this stage without getting hit, and how many people complain because, oh, I got hit once. Oh, I didn't get hit, but this so it's like they can't really make stuff like that because gamers today are like, it's not easy enough that I can just breeze through this game. So things like that is.
Clair Expedition had it where you had to fight somebody without getting hit.
Yeah.
Like a boss.
And you know how many people have in that game have been complaining like, I can't beat this boss, and you think like, oh, I can't. And the same thing I thought, oh, I can't block this boss, and then eventually I was able. I mean, like, usually you don't have to block it, you could dodge, but can I keep the pattern going? And that's where I think it's mainly where, like, that's where I'm glad in some sense that they don't make it easy to where like I can just hit one button and go. But also too, when you're working and stuff like that, and then you're kind of too tired to do anything at the end of the day, and you just want to play a game. I think that's where I'm also like, I wish that this game was much easier that I'm playing. Because
so what would be your top 3 so far? Game of the Year.
Game of the Year.
Clair Expedition for me is number 1. I would think that I would probably pick Squareenix
is up there
for number 2,
and then gosh, number 3. You'd have to choose. Gosh, what's out right now? I don't know. Because I think
The number 3 would be hard.
it's 3 for me.
Maybe I would just go and pick maybe Tales of Grisha. No, I'll pick the Lunar. That'll be my 3rd one. Would be the Lunar Collection.
I don't.
What would be your 3rd one? Because we pretty much have the same pick for 1 and 2.
I don't know. I could say it would be like, I'm looking through the games again. I'd probably have to go with what I enjoyed playing with my time was Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Okay.
Even though it's a remake, I thought it was still pretty good. But yeah, other than that, like I haven't played. My problem is I just don't got time.
Yeah.
So I haven't played a lot of these, but yeah, I think they're all RPGs. I think I'd go with those, but yeah, that's my choice.
All right, so put your choices at the bottom in the comments on there, and then of course like and subscribe to our channel. I'm Dark Knight 316, and this is the Roundtable Podcast game. We have Robert Wheeler Gaming. That's his channel name. What other ones do you have for your channel right now?
So I do gaming news, collection videos, my journey through platinum retirement. So I talk about trophies. I've been dabbling into like top 5s. I've been looking at kind of like like your top 5 games on PS Plus and stuff like that. So like to do a lot more. I'm trying to come up with ideas, hopefully something that's unique, that isn't kind of the same what you've seen, but make it more interesting. And hopefully another collection video could come soon. I can upgrade, because I don't want to just show one. Here's my new game, boom, all right guys, like this. But hopefully I can get some more collection there. I'm trying to complete a series, collection. I already know the game I'm looking for, so maybe that might be a video. But yeah, so that's mine, Robert Wheeler Gaming. Check it out.
Yeah, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching this video, and always remember, never
Keep
stop
gaming,
gaming.
guys. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.